Hey there, it's Crazy John Carrots. I'm here on OSH Radio, and today I'm interviewing James Balsamo. I think I still messed that up a little bit. Sorry. We're talking about that, how it's hard to say people's last names. I always envision your name. Do you remember those old commercials where stuff was made by Blammo?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I could just see like on your movie saying another Balsamo production, like come up like the Blammo thing, you know?
Yeah, I like
I don't
that.
know. To me, that would just kind of be cool. So yeah, we were talking before we started about meeting at a Mad Monster party. What would you call that thing? Horror and Comic Con kind of thing. Horror Con, I guess that one really is, isn't it? The
Exactly.
Mad Monster, many years ago. So and you've been busy before that and since that. I know I saw recently you're in the middle of working on a new movie right now. I'm sorry, I might have even interrupted it for you to do this interview. So tell us about your history. What got you started doing movies? How long you've been doing it, and what you think are some of your best ones that people should check out.
Sure. Hey, everybody, James Balsamo here, CEO of Acid Bath Productions. If you're unfamiliar with my work, I've written, directed, produced, done special effects, and done some of my own music in some of my movies. You can even get James Balsamo Knows How to Rock 1 and Volume 2 out now. Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes& and Noble, you name it, you get it. Or you can go to jamesbalsamo.com. I produced over 273 film products to this date. I've written 2 joke books, Total Punishment and Puns of Peril. And I work with A-list celebrities like John Landis, Malcolm McDowell. I've killed the guitar player of The Doors with a door in my movie Slice. Rob Halford from Judas Priest has been in a few of my films. Weird Al has been in my house and in my movie that I made with Bill Victor Arukin called It Wants Blood Too. You don't know me. What's wrong with you? Get with it, kids. Go to jamesbalsamo.com and get some of my fun movies, like my new movie, Robot Dracula, with Michael Ironside, where I got him to reprise his role from Scanners. So, what are you waiting for? There's so many fun movies to watch. Or you can watch It Wants Blood on TV right now, along with Alien Danger, a fun family kids sci-fi movie with Tommy Chong.
That would be a great commercial. I like that. We should edit that into a commercial. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you've done lots of movies. Like I said, I met you many years ago, and you had already done a whole bunch of movies then. And you're a hard worker. I think you're up for one of those hardest workers or whatever you call awards, where people are out there working a lot. And yeah, I think it's hard to believe that anybody hasn't heard of you. To tell you the truth. Uh, we mentioned about Toxic Tutu that I met you when I was on the road with that. But you have been putting Mark Torgel in a lot of your productions, I believe, for some roles, and he's been happy with that, especially since he just retired. So
I
he's
love
happy to be going.
I love Mark. We just filmed with Mark for my new movie I made with Shannon Boyce called I Spill Your Guts Too. And that's the long awaited sequel to a movie I made in 2012. And Mark Torgel plays a crooked politician that, spoiler alert, meets his untimely demise from the American executioner. So be sure to watch that one. That's going to be a hell of a blood and guts show for sure.
A lot of your music, movies, a lot of your movies, all of your movies are very enjoyable. I like your ideas and your spark. That's a great thing. And I did go out and buy your joke book when that came out, and enjoy that too. Some of those jokes are really good in there.
Thank you.
But we're talking about some of the things you've been doing. What got you started in the music business?
So I played in bands in high school. I started acting as a little kid when I was 8, and I couldn't find any movies that would hire me because they would say, "Oh, you're really funny, but this is more of a drama," or you know what I mean. You're just too handsome for this film product. So I decided to make my own film company, and I played in bands in high school, and so through the years I was in all these bands. I opened up for Mushroom Head and White Lion, and so. I took all of the music videos from the bands that I was in over the years, and I made James Balsamo Knows How to Rock and James Balsamo Knows How to Rock Too. And so I'm working on a James Balsamo Knows How to Rock 3. I have a new band called The Wizards of Pleasure, and that it's fun. It's got naked elves in the music video. Something to look out for.
Yeah, I did jump the gun there on the. I meant to ask you about the movie thing before the music, but I do like my music. I do write lyrics and have done that. Got 2 Grammy nominations, so I always like the music.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah.
as far as you not being handsome enough for movies, I don't know. It all depends on what role. There's roles for every type person in TV and movies. So
No,
I
two
don't
hands.
believe.
No, no,
Oh,
two
you're
hands.
too handsome.
Yeah,
Okay, I can see that. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Because if you're in a movie and you're as handsome as you,
Right.
all the cast, the women, the men, the animals, the plants, they're
Mostly
all
the
trying to
animal.
get close to
True, mostly the animal.
you. But what did now I did mention I did ask you about the music out of order. The films though, what got you interested in films? And I always say talking about music and films is when you're creative, you're creative. You
Yeah.
usually don't just do one thing. You usually try your hand at being creative in multiple things. So what got you started in the movies and making them yourself actually?
Well, like I said, I started acting when I was 8, and I really just couldn't get roles. So I started interning for Trauma, and Lloyd Kaufman taught me every trick in the book, and I went off and I made my own film company. And now Acid Bath Productions has over 273 film products out. So we had a party a few months ago to celebrate 200 releases, and in a few months we'll probably hit our 300th. So, you know.
That is great. And okay, so that's what got you started. What were your influences? You said Troma already. Any other influence? What movies growing up stuck in your mind that made you think you wanted to create something like that or better than that? Let's say.
So when I was a kid, I watched Friday the 13th Part 3 with my dad, and when that girl gets put on the meat hook, I was like, that's it. I want to be a slasher character in a movie. And so, my mom was like, "Oh, you want to take acting lessons?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to be a slasher." And she was like, "You could be so much more." And I was like, "No, that's what I want." And so here we are, still playing a slasher.
That's great, though. I mean, that's you found your niche, like they say, and I mean, you need. There's all kinds of things out there, and there's needs for all kinds of things in entertainment. So if you want to be a slasher, you be a slasher, young man.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
right.
so what do you see? Let's say now you're working on a new movie right now, but what do you see as something you'd like to do in the future that maybe you haven't gotten to do yet? I don't know, like maybe something you'd need a bigger budget for or something different. What would be your dream project that you might not have done yet?
I've got a Western planned. I've done some Western scenes in some of my films, but I plan on doing a full Western, if not this year, early next year. So that's coming up soon.
And I hope you're still going to have some slasher scenes in it.
Yeah, well, what I want to do is a Western, but the violence is heightened. So, a lot of Westerns, they have the gunfights, and then the guy just kind of buckles over and he's like, "Ooh, I've been shot." I want to do like, you know, sawed off shotguns to the face, but in a Western kind of setting. So,
I think that would actually be enjoyable. I mean, in
oh,
all
yeah.
reality, life can be brutal.
And I think the West was like a horrific time in history. You know what I mean? You'd get hurt and they'd just be like, drink this whiskey. So, I think it lends itself to good cinema, you know.
It is. I tell you, the place I lived for a while. Originally, the Steel was there, and Steel's closed up now. But on the main street, there was a bar on every corner.
Yeah,
And you talk about the whiskey, but a lot of times in the old days, that's exactly what they did. They went and drank rough after a hard day of labor to kill the pain.
right.
And it is funny, but that's what they did in the old days. So, it's like you said, to get shot, go have a whiskey. I mean,
Yeah,
they did that kind of stuff when they were hurt and stuff. And today, we kind of find that funny. But that was the standard back then. So that's what
yeah.
you'd like to do a Western. What about a love story? Have you ever thought about doing a love story?
I do. I have something that's been in development hell for years. It's called Area 51 Love, and it's about a janitor that works at Area 51, and he falls in love with one of the aliens, and then it's about their escape from Area 51 and romance. So I was spaced when I thought of it, but that's something that I talked to a few people that I work with, and we were going to make it, and it's something it's on the burner. So one day it might see some light, but you
I
never.
like that. You could even make that a Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah,
You know how they always seem to like to redo the Romeo and Juliet storyline. So
it's true. Yeah,
I had just been at Area 51 a couple months ago out there and stayed at the Clown Motel. If you've heard of the Clown Motel out there in Nevada,
I have.
but
Yeah.
killer clowns and all that stuff. So okay, so that's kind of what motivated you and what you're looking at. What other topics might you want to discuss with the people out there? Things that they should, movies that you prefer they watch, or you think would be great for them to watch that have some meaning to you, and might have something you'd really like people to see at maybe the best showcase of your talent in filmmaking.
We'll definitely go out and watch the 10-year anniversary of I Spill Your Guts, especially since we're filming the sequel right now. So that way you're all caught up with the American Executioner and his backstory. Andrew W.K. gets cut in half in the first one. Lloyd Kaufman from Troma's in that, as well as Lynn Lowry and Debbie Rochon and the late Dave Brocky, a.k.a. Odorous Urungus from Guar, and Ghoul are in that movie. So be sure to check out the 10-year anniversary of I Spill Your Guts. And if you like stuff a little racier, be sure to check out some of my nude scene compilations called Sexy Time. And I just finished Sexy Time 9, so that's coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, Mind Melters. Mind Melters is a compilation of short films, celebrity promos, and all sorts of wacky stuff. They call it the stuff at the deli, like the short ends and like the little bits. That's what Mind Melters is. And that's another one of my best sellers. And like I said, Mind Melters 50 just came out. So be on the
Number
look.
50, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you use little, do you use parts from other movies, or do you just use things that never fully went, or what
All
all
of
do you
the
use on that?
all
Above.
of the above. So it's behind the scenes, short films, things that weren't completed, like so just like raw footage of like stuff that I started to make that never saw the light of day. So if you like Acid Bath Productions and you like me and you like, seeing weird stuff I started to make and it just didn't pan out, like Tim Burton tried to make that Superman movie with Nicolas Cage. It didn't work out and people didn't really know about it until 20 years later. So, stuff like that I have, you know what I mean? We shot a few years ago and it just never got completed. And now you can see it in Mind Melters. So,
Well, I find a lot of the movies you make and a lot of the indie films, I think they have a lot of better ideas today than some of the main productions that the main companies are doing. I think the main companies have fallen into a trend where they like to use a lot of the same ideas and don't really have much originality. And I
yeah,
think that's a pity. And I think lately, my observation of the film business lately is they've gotten scared because people aren't going to movies like they used to.
yeah,
But I like we talked about music before. Well, the music industry went through that too, and it's changed. It used to be that people went to concerts to sell albums. Now they sell albums to get people to go to concerts,
right.
and the whole system is rotated around. And I think that's the problem with the film industry. They're still worried about how many people go seeing it on open day or opening week, and I think the days of that are gone. And the way they're going about it, I think wrecks the production because I think they're trying to hold to movie plots that they knew worked before because they're scared of what's happening in the industry. And I think it's the indie artists that are out there being creative and doing more interesting things. And it's a lot more worthwhile to watch the indie movies. I think you can enjoy it, and you don't know where the plot's necessarily always going to turn. And the other companies have become too predictable. I think they should hire more of the indie people to do some of the major networks and major companies. I think it'd be a lot more refreshing. I don't know what your thoughts would be.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, for me, I always prefer a shot on video 80s horror movie opposed to like a mainstream, action movie with CGI explosions and you know what I mean? Some overpaid day player actor that's in the movie for 15 minutes and you know what I mean? They put him on the cover and then you know what I mean? They kill him off early. So yeah, I much rather see like a monster made out of paper mache and the film is shot on 8 millimeter and then the actors in the film are like the filmmaker's cousins and uncle, you know what I mean? And
I
so
tell you, some of the movies that scared me the most when I was little. Now I'm in my 60s, so I'm an old fart. But were like the ones that were in black and white too. And I hate to say this though, but sometimes when they went to color and they went to special effects and they went to more and more special effects and more gore with color and special effects, I don't know, it wasn't the same as the old days of the old black and whites, where you were just afraid of the monster coming out of the shadows. Just the monster hiding in the black and white shadows and coming out, to me, sometimes is more scary than all the gore and special effects.
yeah. Yeah, so you adhere to the Hitchcock suspense days. I'm a visual guy, so I hear you, but I'd rather see the rubber monster. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
like
yeah, but see, but I like the fact that your monsters aren't high tech. You're
yeah,
relying on the funness, the campiness, the quirkiness, the enjoyable things that people don't expect to happen. And that for me is more important than the special effects. Even though you had the visual, what I'm saying is that's more important that it's quirky and different. That's what makes it worth watching, I think.
yeah. No, I like it.
I think so. So what do you think? Now you've done a bunch of movies, and we talked about paper mache and rubber monsters and stuff. What has been your favorite monster that you've used in a movie and that you wouldn't mind using again?
Probably Alaric Barca, a good friend of mine, and I came up with this creature based on a cryptid from Africa called the Ndoto. Well, I named it the Ndoto. Its real cryptid name is called the Grootslang, and it's an elephant and a snake. And so I partnered with Bill Victor Arukin to finish this movie that I had started called It Wants Blood, and that's what's on TV right now. And so we also did a sequel together, and that's the one with Weird Al, and it's also Coolio's last movie. But Richard Svensson, a stop animator that I work with in Sweden, he's known as the Lone Animator, and he made a full body stop animation. And Joe Castro made this giant puppet head where people's heads could actually fit inside of the mouth of this elephant looking creature, and it's got a big mouth that looks like a vagina with teeth on the front of its face, and then the elephant trunk is a snake. So it's a
That sounds
pretty,
like a bad nightmare I've had already, but that's another story.
yeah.
Okay, go on.
And then its big elephant ears are like bat wings. And so Alaric and I went back and forth with ideas on what it should look like, and we came up with this final creature design. And then I sent that to Richard Svensson, and he made the full body stop animation. And then Joe Castro, wanted to make the head scarier for the puppet, and so Joe asked me like, "Oh, can I make it scarier?" And I was like, "Please do." And so it has a whole bunch of different art incarnations, and it was like really fun to come up, with people that I work with and my friends to make this crazy looking creature. And like I said, we did the sequel, and that's coming out soon. And that's got a whole bunch of other cool people in it. The Godfather from WWE, Charles Wright is in it, and Ken Sages from Nightmare on Elm Street Part Three is in that. And like I said, Coolio's in that, and Weird Al's in it, and Rikishi, the wrestler, is in that also. So he plays a mad
Great.
scientist, and he's really
You
fun.
always have a you always have a great cast.
Thanks.
So I
So
tell you one yeah, so I was going to ask you now if you're talking to somebody, say somebody that's starting out in the business or wants to start in the business, what kind of advice would you give them?
I say pick up the camera and do it. So many people say you need a budget. I say that's not true. Get your friends, get a camera, use your cell phone. Everybody's got a cell phone nowadays. Turn the phone sideways and just start filming. You know what I mean? That's like the start. That's start one. And then, come up with an idea of what you want to do and then put it all together. You know what I mean? There's so many tutorials online on what to do. You learn the 180 rule. That's the only filmmaking rule I adhere to. You shoot over this shoulder, and then on the reversal, you make sure you're staying on the 180 axis. And then, so I'm having a conversation with myself. You're shooting over this shoulder, right? So to stay on the 180 axis, you shoot on the opposite person's shoulder right on this side. So opposite, here, 180 axis. Bam. That's the 180 rule. There's something about editing when you cut and you break that axis, people are like, what's happening? Your brain can't handle it or something like that. So that's
I'll
it.
tell you, it is amazing how technology has changed over the years. And I mean, I remember the day of having horrible digital cameras and video cameras, and if the light wasn't right, the picture would get so pixelated. And today you can do so much even just with your phone. I used to
Yeah.
do these cheap TV shows, and I started out with all kinds of cameras and stuff. And I did 7 seasons of this one show, and the last 2 seasons I did totally on my phone. I mean,
Right.
because the technology was so different and amazing today.
Yeah.
All right, well, I didn't want to keep you too long. So, anything else you'd want to say to people out there before we end this interview? Anything you'd want to get out there to tell people?
Yeah, make sure you add me. And also, I partner with people to make their own movie. So if you have a movie that you want to make, you put in half the budget, I put in the other half. And then it goes through my distribution, Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes& and Noble, cable television. So go to jamesbalsamo.com to find out more about that. Follow me on Twitter at Acid Bath Product or Instagram at James Balsamo or at Acid Bath Productions. And find me on Facebook. I want to be your friend. Let's make a movie.
Actually, I do know some people that are indie pro wrestlers that
Okay.
are interesting, and I did mention you to them before. Hopefully, they will get a hold of you, and you guys can make history together.
Hopefully, it's not a sleeper hold.
It'll probably be a sleeper movie, but that's beside the point. As long as you make it, because you never
That's it.
know. I always say you throw things. Somebody asked me that one time about things, and I told them, keep producing. I said,
Yeah.
throw things on the wall. Something might stick. You don't know
Yeah.
what.
You
I
never
mean,
know.
it's like even when you do put up silly videos on Facebook or on YouTube, sometimes a thing that you did not know
Yeah.
would hits, and like lots of people watch it. So you don't know. But
You never
thanks
know.
for being with us today, James. I look
Pleasure.
forward to seeing more and more of your productions. One of
Thank
these
you.
days, I'll run into you at another horror con,
Yeah. Got to get you in a
and
movie.
I'd be happy to be in one with you and Mark, because me and Mark are buddies still. And we just keep making great movies, so we have something to watch other than this stuff they put out from the major networks. That's all I can say. You're
Thanks.
giving us something to watch that we can enjoy,
I appreciate that.
and we thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.